For viewers across Africa and the rest of the world, this is NC Continental Prime. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. We begin in West Africa, where Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has signed the student loan bill into law. The law is to provide easy access to higher education for indigent students through interest-free loans from Nigerian Education Loan Fund. The student loan bill, sponsored by the Speaker of the Ninth House of Representatives, Felicity, passed the third reading at the House 2 weeks ago. During his campaign, Tinubu promised to give student loans as part of efforts to develop the education sector and also build the youth capacity. Tinubu made the promise at the British Royal Institute in London. In the meantime, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to ensure the sacrifices made by citizens to maintain democratic rule are not in vain. The president gave the assurance in a televised address to mark this year's Democracy Day. Tinubu says his administration will repay Nigerians through massive investment in transportation, infrastructure, education, reliable power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that will improve people's quality of life. He also asked elected officials to recommit to selfless service to the people and to provide concrete democracy dividends in compliance with their political commitments.
Fully, I have asked you, my compatriots, to sacrifice a little more for the survival of our country. For your trust and belief in us, I assure you that your sacrifice shall not be in vain. The government I lead will repay you through massive investment in transportation, infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that will improve the quality of lives. On this year's Democracy Day, I enjoy all of us, to rededicate ourselves to strengthening this form of government of free people that has been our guiding light these past 24 years. In particular, those of us who have been privileged to elect into public office at various levels in both the executive and legislative arms of government must recommit ourselves to offering selfless service to the people and delivering concrete democracy dividend in accordance with our electoral promises. On my part and that of my administration, I pledge anew our commitment to diligently fulfilling every component of our electoral pact with the people, the Renew Hope agenda.
Achike Chude, a public affairs analyst, and Jide Ojo, a political commentator, join me to discuss the content of President Bola Tinubu's Democracy Day speech. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Chude, let me start with you. He has spoken, Nigerians have listened. What do you make of his swearing in? Since his swearing in, what do you make of his speech?
Well, obviously, he's still trying to inspire Nigerians. He knows that the journey is going to be a difficult one, made more difficult by the 8 years of his party under the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. And so obviously he has said things that should steer people, things that should inspire Nigerians, and we expected the very best, from his administration. But and so he has said all the right things. He's talked about the need to restructure. He talked about economic and social justice for Nigerians. He talked about faith in the country, and talked about his desire to make Nigerians smile at the end of the day, regardless of the sacrifices that he expects them to make, for the good of the country. But like they say, words are cheap, and so anybody can say anything. And the politicians have actually been talking since 1999 to date about what they were going to do to transform this country. And so after 24 years of democracy, of unbroken democracy, we have seen a country that is not working, a country that does not inspire hope, a country that, people would believe to a very large extent, have seen the worst of the country.
I would stay with you and explore your concerns about a country without hope, considering the speech that the new president, has given. But for the sake of fairness, let's go to Mr. Ojo and just get your thought. He made it clear, President Tinubu, that he will start work immediately. And since his inauguration days ago, he has made some decisions. With all the decisions he has taken, the few recently, do you think he has so far lived up to his words to start off work immediately? And does the action give you an indication of what to expect in the coming days and months ahead? Mr. Ojo, if you can hear me. Okay, I think we lost Mr. Jide Ojo. So I will just stay with you now and rephrase. I'll go to Mr. Ojo with that question. But for you, I want to ask, of what you said about, a country without hope, are you saying that all the president has been saying since he came into office does not give you any reassurance despite some of the actions he seems to have taken?
I didn't say so. I did say so. I talked about the president's acknowledgement of the situation that we have on ground. And he's enjoining Nigerians essentially to try to deal with the administration that he was going to deliver on the promises that he had made. And this is what I said. And but again, I said that words are cheap. That look, we have had statements from all the presidents that have sat in the seat of power in this country from 1999 till date. And so what we have is a country that is not working. What we have today is a country that does not inspire hope, and that is the truth. And there's no other way to put this. But it is now left for the president, for instance, to be able to give people the basis for them to be hopeful that things can be better. And it is left for him to inspire trust in the people. For the people to have trust in him. And trust is not something that is merited. It is something that has to be earned. So he is the one that will now have to do the work to ensure that trust, that Nigerians would actually have trust in him. He has to earn the trust.
With his actions.
And the only way he can do that is to walk the talk by his actions.
Okay, Mr. Ojo, I understand we have you back. I tried to find out from you. The president said he's going to get to work immediately. With some of the decisions he has taken so far, do you think he is making good his words?
Well, we have listened to President Tinubu twice now. First on May 29, and now on June 12. And many will say, yes, it's inspiring and it's walking the talk. But it's too early in the days to judge, given the fact that he has yet to form his cabinet, and the appointments have been trickling in. He has signed a couple of bills now. Was it last Friday he signed the law constitutional alteration to bring the retirement age of judges to be at par. And then today we had him sign the student loans, students' interest-free loans, which are part of his campaign. And we have also seen him appoint his secretary to the federal government. He has been able to appoint his chief of staff and deputy chief of staff. However, one of the tests of his administration is coming up tomorrow, which is the inauguration of the National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly, and we know where his interest lies in that 10th National Assembly. Some individuals have been mentioned for possible occupation of the President of the Senate, Deputy President of the Senate, Speaker, and Deputy Speaker of House of Reps. And if it turns out that those preferred choices, if they win their election tomorrow, That means gradually the engine of administration of Tinubu is taking shape. However, if there is an upset tomorrow, that could cause the redrawing, and we possibly are back to the 2015 era when Bukola Saraki caused an upset in the Senate. However, in terms of the speeches, is making the right is making the right sign bites, making the right commitments. But as I've said on several media platforms, you know, politicians campaign in poetry, the government improves. And this was highlighted in my column in The Punch last Wednesday. And I'm enjoining the media and civil society to track the performance of all the campaign promises that have been made, both by President Tinubu as well as 28 governors that were inaugurated alongside.
I'm sure that is obviously on the minds of most media owners around the country. Let's come back to you, Mr. Chude. With the recent suspension of the governor of the central bank, some Nigerians have been scoring him a high. What is your take on that?
Because Emekele is somebody that has courted controversy unnecessarily. And in the process of courting controversy, he has earned the angst of and the anger of Nigerians, especially not just with some of these issues that involve corruption. Of course, these have not been proven. But again, his incursion into the political terrain in this country was very shocking. For the governor of a central bank to actually aspire for the position of the president of this country while still holding forth as the governor of the central bank. And then again, the Naira redesign policy also was something that brought untold and unprecedented hardship to Nigerians. And ultimately, even after that matter had been rested, after the elections, the fact that most Nigerians have not even seen the Naira that they were talking about in the first place meant that there was really no plan to ensure that it was going to circulate all over the country. So what exactly was he doing? Obviously, he did not act alone. He acted in concert with the former president. So he is the fall guy, ultimately, at the end of the day. And so you would see that, like I said, he courted controversy needlessly, and then ran, and then obviously ran into troubled waters with Nigerians. So Nigerians are rightly happy about, what they see as a possible downfall. Yes, he has been suspended. We do not have a substantive governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So in theory, he is still the Central Bank governor. So we are going to see how it plays out. Of course, Nigerians are that, this matter should be looked at, with the right mindset, so that he is not unnecessarily, victimized. And again, we don't know what he's doing with the GSS. We are thinking that the issues of financial crime, money laundering, which he has been accused of, are within the domain and the purview of the EFCC, unless he's charged, he's being held liable for crimes against the state's security issues by the GSS. That's the only time they can hold.
All right, before we let you both go, I want to ask Mr. Ojo. The president, in his speech, asked Nigerians to trust him. He made a promise to ensure that he cushions the effect of the impact of fuel subsidy removal on the citizens. He talked about infrastructure, transportation, and the likes. How tenable do you think this promise is? In 40 seconds, if you can.
And do we have a choice? We just have to give benefit of doubt that he will redeem those promises. Talk is cheap, and like I said earlier on, politicians campaign in poetry, the government in prose, according to Matthew Cuomo, 52nd governor of New York City in the US. So he has said that we should look forward to expansion of infrastructure, sustainable electricity or affordable and efficient electricity, better education, better health facilities. And we hope to see that play out, which is part of the reason why I'm saying we need to hold this president accountable. He has an 80-page document out there, my part, the Renew Hope agenda. And we just need to download and dissect and to start to track the performance of those commitments and promises. Because he has said that he was going to remove fuel subsidy, and luckily, he just had to be the one to implement that aspect of governance. And it's very painful. Like I said, he felt the pains of Nigeria. But we want to see what the savings from that fuel subsidy regime will mean in actual terms before the end of the year. There are 6 months we want to see in terms of transportation, in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure.
So I'll take it from your comments that you are hopeful that we will see some changes. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are too. Thank you, gentlemen, for speaking with us on the news.
Thank you.
My pleasure.